Because if you took the actual minimum wage that was established several decades ago, that same minimum wage that some of these senators now, they say, oh, when I worked in, the ice cream parlor and made $6 an hour, if I could do it then, y'all can do it now. Well, $6 at the ice cream parlor before I was born, if you actually index that to increases in inflation and cost of living, or rather, and productivity gains, that would be a $24 minimum wage today. $24. So we already think it should be 24 an hour. So 15 is the compromise. That's the compromise. People need to, realize how hard it is. I just don't think a lot of my colleagues, I just don't think they get it, like how hard it is. You can't live off of a minimum wage today. Like you just can't. It's not, I don't think there's a single state in the country where anybody can afford median rent or, rent, working 40 hours on a minimum wage. And so a minimum wage should be a living wage, which means if you are making minimum wage, you should be able on 40 hours a week, not 60, not 80, not 100, not 2 jobs, not 10 jobs. One job should be enough. One job, 40 hours a week, minimum wage. You should be able to feed yourself, pay your rent, be able to go to the doctor, take some time off. And that's what minimum wage should be. That's not too much to ask. And we have been conditioned. This is like just that dystopian capitalist conditioning that you don't deserve to live if you make minimum wage. That is wrong. All life has dignity. And for everyone who likes to think they're pro-life, they should maybe support policies that support life when you are working 40 hours a week on a job, or just support life, period, But I'm kind of over this hypocrisy. So anyways, if you're pro-life, why don't you support universal health care, guaranteed health care, living wage, et cetera, down the line. So someone copy pasted the list right there. So you can scroll up. Thank you for whoever did that. And follow up with your senator. Say, hey, what's up? $15 minimum wage. This is part of the Democratic Party platform. Where are you at? Talk to him. Because one of the excuses that I hear people hide behind the most is, oh, no, I'm not getting any calls about this. No one is calling my office about this. I'm not kidding you. Like, a lot of people think this whole call your senator thing is BS and doesn't mean anything. I'm telling you right now, it is so influential. It's influential precisely because not enough people do it. And so when someone does call, it's like, whoa. And so call your senator, because very often they do say that. They'll say, oh, I'm not getting any calls on minimum wage, so my state doesn't care about this issue as much. Or I will tell you, the right wing does make a lot of phone calls. Oh my gosh. I usually know what Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity or any one of these like Fox News goals were. How do you pronounce that? Anyways, ASL. Not ASL. ESL. But I often can tell what their monologue was, if we're getting attacked by Fox News, I can often tell what the monologue was the night before, because they send so many vicious people calling us, repeating the same exact phrases. And so what happens is that you get all of these people who are kind of like really brainwashed by a lot of these like tele-racists and just like kind of saying these lies on Fox. And then what happens is that they they call our office and literally repeat phrases from the monologue from the night before. And it happens like so often, it's kind of like drones. It's really kind of weird. But it goes to show, but it, it's influential. It is. I'm not even going to lie. It's influential. That's why they do it. That's why people pay so much money to do it. That's why the propaganda is effective. And so I'm telling you that you need to call your senator. You need to call your elected official. You gotta do it, because they will use your silence as acceptance. I see it happen all the time. I'm telling you firsthand. As a member of Congress, I hear you all the time. I'm telling you, I hear all the time people say, oh, I don't need to support minimum wage, Medicare for all, Green New Deal. I don't need immigration reform, DACA, whatever. I don't need to support it because I don't get calls on it. My district doesn't call me about that. And so I'm telling you, you need to call. The other thing too is that calling is really not just about, it's not just about haranguing people who don't agree with you on your issue. It's not about like nagging your elected official either. Please call your elected officials who you think are doing a good job. No, not just me, but call your rep. Your rep. If I'm not your rep, we'll take the call. We will always take nice things. But call your rep too, because it let me tell you why it helps. It's not just like self-congratulatory or anything like that, but it legitimately helps me prioritize, right? Because at any given moment, we need to fight for so many things. We need to fight for student loan forgiveness. We need to fight for a Green New Deal. We need to fight for, our indigenous and Black and immigrant brothers and sisters. We need to fight for laborers. We need to fight for the right to unionize. We need to fight for all of these things. There's so much positive change that we need to make in the world. And so your calls help me prioritize, because ultimately there's so much beautiful change to make in the world. But at the end of the day, my job, my core, strip away all the functioning, strip away everything. My core job is to represent and serve the people of New York's 14th Congressional District. And so I need to prioritize based on the conversations I'm having with my community. And if the less conversations my community is having with me, the less phone calls that my community is having with me, the less information I have to help me prioritize. And very often I think to myself, I'm like, okay, we have all these 10 issues. What am I going to plan for March? Am I going to do housing? Or am I going to do housing in March and then environment in April? It helps you really prioritize. And so call your member, send an email. You can send an email too if you don't like the phone. And also know that no matter what, the person who's often picking up the phone when you first call is an ordinary person. Oftentimes they're quite young. You could have a 19 or 20-year-old intern picking up the phone. You could have someone in their 20s, you could have someone in their 30s, someone that's new to the work, but you're having a community liaison answer the phone for you. Their job is to be kind and to listen to you. So don't be intimidated at all. They will help you walk through it. Please call. And if you think that your representative is doing something good, thank them. Thank them. Like, we get beat up a lot in this work, and feeling like here's like the flip side. You take a lot of knocks. It takes a lot of energy to take a lot of stances, especially progressive stances. And it is hard when you're under a lot of pressure, sometimes within your own party, to not take a stance, right? And if you feel like your community doesn't care, and if you feel like, oh man, like I'm I'm using all of this political capital. I'm taking this huge political risk. And is it like, should I even bother because my community doesn't even notice? Maybe I can back off on this issue, and then maybe I can lean into a different issue. And so having your constituents notice is really meaningful. I can give you an example from this week. This week we took some time to stand up. I delivered a speech on the floor. So our congressional district, New York 14, again, it covers Jackson Heights, Sunnyside, Woodside, and then all the way out into the Bronx as well. We're home to one of the largest Tibetan diasporas in the world. And so this week I took some time to speak to the needs and honor our Tibetan community on the floor of the House. I did it because I felt like it was the right thing to do, but we got a lot of emails this week from people in our Tibetan community who saw it and said, this was my first time feeling this seen in Congress by a member of Congress, and thank you for this, and I really appreciate that. And it's not an ego thing, but it's good to know when your work is helping people. It's good to know that the work is having a positive impact on people. And the only real way that we can know that is when our constituents tell us. Because we want to spend our energy and our time doing the things that touch people's lives. And so when you call us to even leave a positive note and to say, hey, I noticed you voted on this thing, and I just want to call and say thank you. Bloop, hang up, 2-minute conversation means the world to us on our side, because then what happens in my office is that we say, oh, we got 5 calls on people thanking us for holding out and fighting for healthcare this week. Or we got 10 calls for people asking us, when are we going to have a student loan forgiveness vote? Or we got X many calls on rent and what we're going to do on protecting people from evictions. That helps us. That's the feedback that we need to help make decisions and where we're going to continue putting our energy, where we need to put more energy, maybe we can put less energy. So call people up. And we also have we really do have really incredible public servants in Congress, just epic people like Barbara Lee. Give her flowers, call her office, say thank you for fighting for us. It's a good thing to do, and it goes back both ways. And again, it's not about ego or anything like that, but we need to be there for each other. And for all of you all that are out there that are organizing in communities, talking to your families, doing whatever small things that you want, I want to thank you. So that thank and that gratitude goes right back. And I think that's a good note to wrap up on. Let's celebrate. Big news. A lot of you guys, by the way, can expect these stimulus checks to hit your bank account as early as this weekend. So as early as this weekend and early next week, we can expect to see your bank accounts get that cash. So thank you all so much. My thoughts are with you. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. Oh, by the way, Biden just announced tonight, every single adult in the U.S. will be eligible for a vaccine starting May 1st. May 1st. Every single adult in this country will be eligible. So there are good things happening, and we can fight for more. We got to fight for student loan forgiveness. We got to fight to pass the PRO Act in the Senate. We got to, fight for more just foreign policy. That is an area where I think our party, we're not cutting it right now. We're not doing a good job right now. We need to push to make that better. So just thank you all so much. Please get vaccinated when you can so that we can all have a nice July 4th party, watch some fireworks together, do that thing. And then maybe who knows, maybe by Christmas, if we can all get vaccinated, we can have small gatherings by July 4th. And then who knows, maybe by Christmas we can have big Christmas parties and go caroling together. Who knows? Or whatever holiday you celebrate. So we will sing and enjoy Festivus. So thank you all so much. So appreciate it. I will try to save this live so that you can get some of the details on the bill in here, rewatch it whenever you want. And that's it. Good evening. Bye-bye.